Hey, and welcome to another session of Be Free and Clear. I have a special expert guest with us today, Eric Howell, the founder of Deal Boss. You guys, I've known Eric for a while, and man, I got to tell you, from all of my experience in real estate investing, and my screw ups that I've had along the way too. Like, I wish I would have had somebody like Eric that would have been there from the very beginning, even with my background in finance and real estate that I had, because I thought I knew a lot, but there's so much that I learned. Eric he's also gone through that stuff. He's forged the way, he's had those experiences, and now he's showing people how not to do the scripts that we had, and just run through the successes. So with his minimal roadblocks that we can have as we run through different investments. So Eric, welcome. Thank you for being on. This is awesome.
No, John, thank you for the invite, man. I'm excited. Let's see what we can do. We got some I got some surprises for your audience for sure.
Perfect. Well, hey, let's just dive right in. So, if and I know you've done this for me before on some other programs we've had, but can you give our listeners, viewers, members just a little bit of background of where you were at, how you and Lori transitioned into the spot that you're in now, not just with maybe your real estate investments, but how it also evolved into Deal Boss and for you helping people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'll start from the day I was conceived. I'm joking. I'm joking. No, so we started off joining with the military. I joined the Air Force, and they set me up with a nice career. And what I learned in the Air Force is to be careful about the environment that you create around yourself. I literally lost way over 100 grand in the military because I listened to people who loved me and wanted the best for me. However, they were scared for me and prevented me from getting started in real estate sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, true story, six or seven of my friends that all started at Nellis Air Force Base with me bought brand new homes instead of renting, and they held them for 4 to 5 years, sold them when they separated, and every one of them cleared net profit over 100K.
Mm.
Right. And me and Lori was stuck renting the entire time because I was told nonstop, hey, don't do that. You're going to get in something. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to be stuck with a house. And I didn't understand. I didn't know what I didn't know. And that led me to getting started in real estate no matter what. So we jumped into this, big mastermind that cost about 60 grand to get started. A lot of disappointment. I was super excited at the beginning because I got sold, but what they actually delivered on was a database of videos that left me empty and not having tangible action steps to actually execute on. Instead, it was watch this video, and then you go try it on your own. It's like, that's almost impossible, right?
Yeah.
There's so many different moving pieces. We made it through that time, though, and I've invested in way more gurus and programs trying to figure out all the little pieces. After well over 200K in investment, what I found out is it's really, really simple, and it's only a 4-step process.
Yeah.
Right. And if only someone would just told me in the beginning, do these 4 things, build this out, now you can consistently make money in real estate. And it's consistent deal flow. That's the key. You got to get consistent deal flow.
Right.
So yeah, it's just 4 pieces.
Yeah, it's funny. Just before we hit the record button, we were talking, just briefly about that, like my experiences, what I've went through myself, and then I was just walking through to grab lunch the other day with a local real estate broker. Like, he'd been around a long time, and he was flipping houses, and I asked him about his real estate investments. Like, oh no, I stopped doing that. I just can't. You don't have the inventory for it, and so to your point, that deal flow is a crucial step. And you've kind of unlocked the secret key to it. And those pieces that's where when people find the right, we'll call them experts, that can make it's a game changer, really. It changes the whole trajectory versus doing it on your own. We talked about this too, you do it on your own. There's a cost of everything. You either have, if I get the life of Hard Knocks cost, or you're paying, someone to model or be within proximity of them to prevent from what they had is their bad experiences and things. And especially when you find the right person that has the integrity behind it, which you and Lori, like, oh man, I'm so blessed to have you guys as part of this program, because like I know and trust in the fact that you guys want the best for the people that are out there too. So
yeah. I appreciate the kind words, man. What you was talking about with spending money, though, a big aha for me was because obviously, spending 60K on a course, and where my family told me not to invest in real estate, obviously they made fun of me. They're like, "Oh, you're about to, lose this. Oh, you hear the tenants and the termites and the toilets and all these scare tactics." And that came next, and it was consistency. But what I realized is we're always spending something, and we're
yeah,
always spending either time or money, whether we want to or not. It's just you have to pick and choose which one of those you are going to spend. But what happens with most of us is whenever we hear real estate, we want to save our time, right? We want more of our time back. And that's what interests a lot of people in getting into real estate. However, they're scared to death to spend a little bit of money to save a lot of time.
right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you got to make those initial investments. However, just like you just said, man, like you need to make the correct ones. And after they get these 4 steps, it'll all make sense.
Yeah. Well. Let's keep going then. I'll let you kind of run the floor with this. So again, you've got a little background on the folks that are inside of our program. What a lot of people they're looking. A lot of them are looking for, if not one, a combination of those options: more time freedom, freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of options, and then fulfillment. And I think all of us are either in the camp of wanting all 4 or wanting at least one of those items. So
Yeah.
So share with everyone like what that means for you and Lori, and how you can kind of guide people through that.
Yeah. Yeah. Here, I like to draw a little bit. So I'll kind of give a little short illustration here.
Perfect.
So, if we just talk about the initial decision that we all have to make, we hear real estate and we hear that it creates the most millionaires and all these raw things, but let's break that down to actually what it means and like how most people have to start. And if you have a board and on one side you have time, and then on the other side, is that flipped? Is that backwards on your side?
I know, I can see it. No, looks right there. Time and money.
All right, on my side, I'm looking at it and it's reading right to left.
Oh, okay.
You're good on your side?
Yeah. So time's on the left and right, money's on the right.
Perfect. Yeah, so what I said, like, hey, are you spending time or are you spending money? And we have a choice. However, we don't realize that we have phases of life, right? It's a skill level. So we have to rank up. And in the beginning, it's really hard for us to save time. So what we need to do is spend money in order to make more money. However, we have no money.
Right.
That's not an option in the beginning. Right? So what we need to do is we need to go learn a high value skill by spending our time.
Yeah.
And this high value skill will translate to more money.
Nice.
And if you break down, okay, well, what are these high value skills? Well, it's very simple. I learned this from Myron Golden, and it just makes so much sense. And he calls it the 4 levels of value. And level 1 is muscle. Did I spell muscle right?
Yep.
Lucky me. I'm just from Tennessee, man, so I'm not that smart. But muscle, I'm a blue collar family, right? My dad's blue collar. My hands are rough. And anytime you use your hands, you are consistently training or trading your time. That's some type of hourglass, by the way.
There you go.
You're consistently trading your time for money. And with me being an air traffic controller, I was told that I was worth this much an hour. And then I was also told that at a certain age, if I put in money into this pot at a certain age, they were going to allow me to go and enjoy the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we call that retirement. And to me, retirement is toxic. Why would you ever want to retire from your own life?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I mean, we call that death.
Yeah.
To think about it. Right. That's what retirement is death. And funny thing, the reason I say that is because in air traffic, we're forced to retire at age 56 due to health because we're on this thing called flight status. And at 56 years old, statistically, air traffic controllers start to die at a younger age because they stop working at such a young age, right? So they stop working at 56. That's what they poured their heart and soul in their entire life, and now they have nothing to do.
Man, that'd put me out of the game this year. I'd be done. I'd be going to play pickleball down in Florida.
And then you're searching for something else to fill your time with, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, the goal of life is just to play it at a high level, and it's trying to get to level 4, which I'll share with you in a second. But level 2 is management, right? So with management, this is the next level where you're trading your time for money. The issue with both of these, there's a ceiling, and you can only make a certain amount of money. All right, there's not a career out there. Can you see that?
Yep.
So there's not a career out there where you can go and be the muscle, or you can be the manager or supervisor, and you're not capped at a certain rate, right? Now, normally this is around 200K a year, like top end. All right. But as soon as you break past this, now you start to remove that ceiling. And now you have a high value skill where you can make a lot of money. Well, guess what that is?
Well, so I think
this is called the mouth, right? This is sales, right? Think singing, think actual sales, think acting. They're literally using their mouth, their words. Think YouTubes, right?
Yep.
Like people who have YouTube channels, like all these people, they created a skill and got really good at creating stuff where people are paying them to listen to the words they're saying. And now they have no ceiling because you can scale that.
Yeah.
Well, what we're talking about, and the reason this is so important, is because in real estate, the most important thing to do is learn how to negotiate. Management doesn't teach you how to negotiate. Muscle doesn't teach you how to negotiate, right? So if you get stuck on this because you're raised in a blue collar family like I am, well, now you're sitting there flipping your own properties, and you're not focused over here creating more deals.
Right. Yeah, and that is, it's funny you talk about that too, because my career has been 100% commission, and there's the ceiling, you have no ceiling, it's the top, but there is, because you're still trading time for money. And even though there's communication with my mouth involved, there's still some level, until I start to find out ways of leveraging that. In real estate, when I was investing in it, I always kind of felt the same way, like, oh, well, this is another method. I'm like, well, gosh, I'm still doing the deals myself. I'd have to find a way to have like an operating system behind that. So once you start, to me, it was like, okay, how do I start opening up those operating systems to expand beyond that? So I'm curious to see what that looks like next. We start getting into
100%, man. So like, you just said tech headache, right?
Yeah.
Tech headache, marketing headache, right? You can only use your mouth as much as you can generate leads, people to talk to, opportunities, etc. So there is a limit on that unless you learn how to do this. But the issue is most people don't learn how to do that, and then they get frustrated because they never get good at sales. Right. And then, if we go ahead and give you the last stage, which is entrepreneurship. And to be an entrepreneur, it means that we're actually good at all 4 levels And now we just start to plug people in to do a lot of these things for us. So for instance, an entrepreneur is going to hire a marketing company. An entrepreneur is going to hire a sales team. And then an entrepreneur is going to have enough skills to sit there and make sure that they're hitting their numbers, moving the sales cycles down the line for profit, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be pulling levers, right?
Yep.
But it's really hard to get there. Like, not many people get to entrepreneurship, right? It's a very, very low number. And like Tony Robbins will talk a lot about that. He talks about like businesses going into these seasons, you know? So, you know, with that being said, John, at the Deal Boss Project, and I said like it's super simple, where we learned that there's only 4 things, and I'm gonna draw the ugliest triangle ever. What happens is people get stuck right here in foundations, and they never make it to sales where they actually make money. Instead, they're stuck down there at the very bottom of the triangle on foundations. Well, what is foundations? Well, this is your logo. This is your website, right? This is your CRM. This is your list. This is your market, right? I mean, I could go on and on and on of all the stuff that really is never going to make you money, but people get stuck. Like, I mean, I know people that spent days, weeks creating a logo.
Yep.
It's just like, nobody cares about your logo.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Same thing with website, you know, like days on website. And it's just like, are you even using your website? Are you generating traffic to your website? And they're like, well, what's traffic?
Yep.
It's just like, you know.
And so, Eric, I have a feeling I know where you're going with this, but so that I can keep, so like the members that are out there, and because some of them I like even know from like my program share, I'm like when I talk about like my mindset work around, you know, like the financial aspect, I feel like this thing, you're giving this foundation. They're going like, well, what does this have to do with buying a house and then flipping it and selling it? Like, can you give a quick over, like, just as a snapshot of how this is leading?
Yeah. So I wrote that behind my picture apparently, but in the foundations right there, you know, what about an LLC?
Yep.
Right. I mean, that's part of foundations. How long does it take you to get one set up? You know, well, then also, do you know the best way to structure it? Right. And the best way to structure it, like, I mean, I've talked to plenty of attorneys and advisors and everything circles back around to the exact same structure setup. The issue is you get all this noise, and they're like, oh, well, you can do it this way, you can do it that way. Well, it depends on your actual end goal. Like, no, it doesn't. It's all the exact same for the initial setup. And then you can get more complex. So what does this have to do with like wealth and real estate?
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to build a portfolio and then all of a sudden get sued and lose everything, do you?
Yeah, right.
Right. I mean, you don't want to build a portfolio and then all of a sudden you're driving down the road, not even your fault, but then something happens and you have a wreck and you cause a lawsuit, and now your life, your family's, life is in jeopardy. Not their physical life, but like their financial life is in jeopardy because you didn't build the proper foundations.
Right.
Right. And to answer that question, you know, it's no secret. Get a trust that's revocable. Put a LLC in it that's a holding company, and that's a pass-through entity. And then up under that, create as many LLCs as you want. That's it.
Yep.
That's the secret model. All right. But you need these, and then nobody does this. Instead, you know, you'll talk to an advisor or whatever. And we did this. Me and Lori did this. All right. We spent, I think it was like $10K for somebody to build out this little thing. Every one of them's destroyed. Right. I mean, I still got the LLCs, I still got the trust, but they're useless because they didn't set it up right. And I have no privacy anymore. Right. Because my name and everything's on all the things. They didn't set it up for, you know, best tax strategy, which is a flow through. Right. And I'm not going to like give the whole lesson of how this is, but I mean, essentially, you never make money from your LLCs. It just all funnels up. So just picture a big cash flow that's going up, and then they're eventually paying you here. Right. And that's as simple as it gets.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what foundation has to do. But how long does it take somebody to set that up by themselves?
Right.
right? And it takes a really long time. I mean, it took us a couple of years to actually get it dialed in, and I didn't even go into bank account setups. So like here's a ninja trick. You need to go to the biggest bank in the nation and create an account whenever you start business. And that biggest bank is called Chase. Okay. However, what you're going to hear out there is only do business with small banks. Well, that's great, but when you start making big money, you're going to have issues. Okay. I mean, am I lying?
Well, I got to be a little careful because I'm still affiliated with a small bank. but I know where you're going with this. I do. I see. I see the point behind what you're trying to share. So,
yeah, I mean, small banks, like how many credit card opportunities do you have? Right, you don't. So, like when you talk about building business credit, like they might have one credit card, but what's the benefits of using that credit card?
yeah.
Like Chase, Wells Fargo, these big banks, like, this is leverage, right? But that's a whole setup of creating that leverage. So if you don't have money, like you can buy houses that way. You can build your portfolio just on credit hacking.
Yeah.
Right. And, to go down that line. But like that's a lot. This is overwhelming to everybody, but it doesn't have to be that way. But then after you get all that set up, well, what's the next phase? What's your operations? Well, what is your operations? Well, it's actually making all of this stuff work.
Yeah. Yep. And it's funny because as I'm watching you build this thing out, I'm immediately thinking in my mind, like when I start people through our program, I ask them to immediately start looking into, what do they feel their free and clear calling is, and where do they, where are they getting the most joy out of what they're going to be doing. And this is so much more than just, hey, I'm going to go out and buy and sell, flip houses. This is you're what you're revealing to them is an actual business. Like you're helping them build a real estate business.
Yes.
That's just not one, because I like there's people beyond myself that I know that are also experts inside of our program that they used to do real estate investing, but they got out of it because they were doing the onesie twosies, right? They were the solopreneur and they're going through this. You're giving people the blanket overview of the umbrella to say, like, this is legacy. You're building legacy here.
Yes, exactly. And it's consistent deal flow, right?
Yep.
And people look at real estate and, they're like, oh, well, I mean, are you just a wholesaler? Or they'll be like, oh, are you just an agent? And like, those are real estate strategies. Those are exit strategies, right? That's not real estate investing.
Right.
Right. We want to be real estate investors. And you don't have to have this big operation. Like somebody in your community might be looking at this and they'd be like, oh my gosh, that's going to cost so much money. And you're right. Out there, this will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to set up right. Right. But in the Deal Boss project, like this is like a couple of $100 a month.
Yeah.
Right? It's stupid cheap.
Yeah.
The reason I'm doing that is because we gatekeeped it. Like the nation has gatekept this forever. And it's just like, I don't want my kids growing up and it costing them or them having to go through the same thing. So let's just go ahead and make it super easy for everybody.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a plug and play. So with operations, well, you don't need, this is the tech headache that you're talking about earlier.
Sure.
You don't need a tech headache. You don't need 5, 6 different systems and tie them all together to get them to do a couple of things, if not anything. So sometimes people will be like, oh, well, what's your CRM? It's just like, what do you mean by CRM? Like, this is what I would ask now, right? Because after I've used like every system out there and we built a 12-person VA team and we was doing, 10 plus deals a month, like it's crazy, like all the moving pieces that you would have and the nightmare it would cause. Right. And the issue with the CRM is they're empty shells. And now you have to become a tech expert to build it out.
Yep. And if you don't know CRM, it's contact relationship management system. What Eric's talking about is now you're going to be, he talked about it, like the mouth, right? Communication. when you get to these kinds of levels that he's hoping that you aspire to, is that you are, you're spending a lot of time. If it's you individually, you're spending a lot of time communicating, calling, email, tracking, and this is part of what he's feeding into an operational system that would help a real estate, or I'm going to say help, but operate a real estate business. So
Yeah.
Eric, did I give a good summary on that for folks?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That was spot on. I couldn't have said it better myself. Yeah. And with that, right after, if you don't have that, then you can't have marketing. All right. And this is the big piece. Marketing in itself is a huge skill, huge. And the reason marketing is so important, because this is where your leads come from. Right. And your leads, this is how you make money. But if you remove these pieces of the puzzle and all of a sudden you don't have proper foundations, well, you can still make money in sales. Okay. I'm not saying that you got to have all this set up. If you don't have operations, you can still make money in sales. If you do not have marketing, you might be able to make a couple of dollars in sales, but like your marketing of some sort. And I know that was confusing the way I said that backwards, because what will happen is this will be your life. You're going to go and you're going to do one deal, and then you're going to wait a very long time to do the next. Right. And instead, what you want to create is the game of Monopoly. See if that actually squares up. Right. You want to create a Monopoly board. So if we have a Monopoly board, and this is Go, most investors, they go around the board one time, they get paid, and they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're waiting. All right. What we want to do is we want to go around the board one time, and we want to have another deal right behind it, and another one right behind it, and another one right behind that one, and another one right behind that one.
Yep.
The only way to do that is to set it up properly. And it's not a big operation. Like, if you think this is a big operation, like, no, like, you're misunderstanding me. What this is consistency.
Right. Yep.
Right. This is, if your goal was to make 10K a month, you can do that as a one-man show consistently. And now your family is secure, right? Like, what job out there makes 10K a month? Not many.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. If you want to make 20K, right? 10K a month is equivalent to one deal, by the way, like wholesale deal. Right. So if you can go out there and find one off-market opportunity and sell it to an end buyer, you're probably going to make around 10K. Like, that's around the average.
Yeah.
Normally it's about 8,000 to 12,000 in every market.
And we're getting, I try to manage these, try to keep them around 30 minutes. So we're getting closer to the end, so I want to get this in, because a lot of people say, like, hey, like, how long does this take me? It's one of the big questions. Like, I really, really have this desire to get where I want to be at, but man, it sounds like a lot of work. And even if I had an expert guide me along the way, does that take years? What kind of windows do people look like that are, they're both doing maybe a 9 to 5, and they want to try to start something where it's a segue on, because they can't just, up and leave for the moment. So it's maybe something they're doing on the side to get going and ramp up. What kind of windows, and time frames does that look like for them?
So a couple of things, right? One, to get this entire pyramid built out, we set all this up in about 3 days.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And not only are we setting up in 3 days, but also we're going to go in and we're going to identify your top 10 zip codes. And we're going to tell you exactly where to focus. And we're going to give you the data that supports wholesaling, creative. And if you're not familiar with creative, but you can buy houses with very little money, seller finance, wraps, like the list goes on and on. It's just another strategy. We're going to show you the best appreciation markets and cash flow markets. So it doesn't matter if your goal is to build a portfolio. It doesn't matter if your goal is to generate cash paydays, fast cash paydays, or large fast cash paydays. You still require the exact same thing, and that is deal flow, right? That's the big thing. You've got to have deal flow.
Yep.
right? So as far as getting the stack, like literally 3 days, like you're good to go, and we set up everything for you. And then we're going to show you how to actually run your business so you're only focused on sales. Now, if your question is to make money, nobody can answer that except for you. You know, the question is when are you going to start? Right? And then how committed are you? Are
Nice.
you really committed? Like, are you going to spend an hour a day? Are you going to spend 8 hours a day? You know, your spouse, right? Are they on board? Because if they're not on board, well, now, you know, how much time are you going to be able to commit? You know,
Right.
like I was just on the phone with another member and they're committed for the rest of the year. But, you know, I had 2 calls with them. I went through and we did a strategy call. And then I did a strategy call with both members and I explained to them, I was like, look, guys, we're not talking about wholesaling here. Like, I don't believe in wholesaling. I believe in being a real estate investor who can solve problems and build wealth for my family. And if you both aren't on board, then this isn't going to work out. Right. And the reason I say it like that is because this is a commitment for your future. It doesn't matter how old you are, like you've got plenty of time. Right. It doesn't matter how young you are, like the sooner you start, the better. But if you are married or if you do have family that, you know, helps you in your life, like, you know, the more the merrier, man. You know this, right, John? Like you're doing it with your son, right?
Yep.
It's so important. But again, like as you build this out, you can make money in a month, you can make money in 6 months. It could take you 2 years.
Yep. Yeah, perfect. No, and that's good. I mean, because I always try to temper that as well. You know, timeframes. Everybody, there's a variable for everything. Just people like to have some ideas of what's possible, right? Like even if they're a unicorn, what's possible? I mean, so hey, like I said, I try to keep these close to 30 minutes to wrap up, Eric. If people want to just, you know, if they want to just get to know you and start what are some of the options they have to get involved with your community, to visit your site? Where do they go?
Yeah. Go to dealbossproject.com. This is the school community. It's free to join. We just started it a couple of weeks ago. We got classes in here that are free. We do free support calls. You can jump on a free call with me and I'll have a conversation and, you know, no pitch, no agenda. Literally my goal is just to make wealth creation through real estate accessible to everyone. And it's just not any type of wealth creation. It's high level, right? The stuff that I describe right now, that's only being done by like these big companies, right? It's not being done by mom and pops. But we're in a day and age where AI and everything else is out there and you can do a lot. Like you can accomplish a lot as a one-man show if you put together the correct operation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And let me just share too, like I'll like for members, like I'm gonna like jump on kind of the back end of this is like that what Eric just said is completely that is completely the difference between like calling my team and saying, hey, I want to buy a duplex and can you help me finance it and share some of your experiences, you know, so I can get started in real estate investing. That's a great start, right? Like that'd be something to do. What Eric is giving an opportunity in is like, again, he's looking at legacy, like an actual business. You've heard me say this in some of the other other sessions. Like when you look at whatever your passion, whatever you're following, the calling, you know, where you want to be at. If you treat it like a business and you're all in with your heart and your soul and the serving of others, if all that's wrapping in, then this is a bigger opportunity than like solopreneur, mom and pop. I'm just gonna like do onesie twosie. This is actually like a lifestyle for you. This is legacy. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's building something where you can get all the time back you want to. You know, I know you're closing this out, John, but like just leave your listeners with something. You know, I walked away from a career where I was making like 120K a year, set up for early retirement and everything. And the reason I walked it away because I was making, you know, 3-4 times as much a year in real estate than I was there. You know, and what happened for us that really blew us away is when we hit $10,000 a month in passive income, we were free. We could breathe.
Right.
But when I had to show up to work and I was living paycheck to paycheck, I mean, they own you.
Yep.
So make the choice. Time is now.
Love it. Great way to close. All right, Eric, we're looking forward to getting you into to more of our sessions for folks. I know that they're going to appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Love it, John. Stay blessed by the best.
All right. Bye now.